All right, we are live, so watch what you say.
So we're starting the Forestation Board meeting on Tuesday, July 11th, 2023 via WebEx. The first item is approval of minutes of May 10. There was no June meeting due to a lack of quorum. Any comments on the minutes as distributed?
In here.
Shall we vote to approve those minutes? You can't hear?
Hello? I vote in favor, even though I wrote them, but I
How
guess,
about her?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I approved the minutes.
And I do too. All right, minutes are approved. The next agenda item was the mayor's update, but the mayor is out of town till Thursday or maybe Friday, something like that. So we can go to Andrea Hamlin's updates. She's our arborist consultant, and Jim. Thank you. You can go ahead, Andrea. I don't think she is connected here.
she was.
She was.
Yeah,
As soon as you said go ahead, she popped out. I was.
Got it. I don't know.
Oh,
Then
now
we have Connie coming on. That's great. Hi, Connie.
Thanks, Connie.
Good to have you.
absolutely.
They need you in Vermont, Connie.
They do?
Yeah,
Why?
telling them the water the rainfall.
Hey, Ron, I like your background. That's great.
Yeah, it was a good day.
That's his army.
Oh, you gotta be careful.
Now you're scaring me. Ron has an army.
Yeah, me with an army. That is a scary idea.
Andrea, are you connected now to us?
I can see her.
She can't hear us, I don't think. I'll call her on the cell phone, see if she can get the internet.
Linda, I saw Linda today. She's planning on coming.
Okay, good.
Okay. She just texted me and said she can't hear anything.
Hmm.
Yeah, I went off for a moment and there was a little blip in the radar, whatever. Hey, I see Doug.
Oh, there's Doug from Florida. Hey,
No, he might be in the United Kingdom.
no, he's in Florida.
That's true. That's funny.
Okay.
He's
I'm
probably an old limey.
Andrea or Doug, but I see them.
Can he be mayor if he's a Brit? I mean, is that legal?
Yeah,
Well, but he's already elected, so what can we say?
oh, that's right.
He suckered us in.
I think so.
We might as well have fun until he hears us.
Yeah,
That's true.
and he
You
has
know,
deep Louisville roots.
We serve under the pleasure of the mayor.
He's gonna, what is it called? Dismiss us all.
Yeah.
A new board.
Hey, Lee,
Because we're all
I don't have any audio. I can't hear you all.
So we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, I can't hear anything and I don't know how to change it or fix it.
oh, there's
I've
Linda.
looked at different things, but I don't know how to change it.
Hey, Linda. You're
Hi
here.
there.
Can you hear us?
I have Andrea on the phone and she says she can't hear us and we can't hear her.
We can actually hear her.
Can you hear her?
Oh, now I can hear you. Now I can hear you.
Okay.
Say something. Hold on, Lee.
Linda
Say
recovered
something,
from
Ron.
her walk.
See, I can't hear.
Okay, great. So Andrea, we were asking for your report or remarks.
Can't hear us, she just said.
Andrea?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're back. We lost you again, Andrea.
Yeah, I can't hear anything. It turns out I was hearing Ron through your phone, I think. So I don't,
Can you hear me now?
well, I don't know if it's my phone. Hold on.
What about now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear
Yes,
you.
hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
I can't hear you.
Andrew, we were asking for your report or remarks. Maybe you can go ahead and do that, and we can hear you now.
Okay, well, I can't hear you all, so,
I'll stay on the phone.
okay.
So Andrea, if you just go ahead.
Pardon me?
Andrea, if you just go ahead and give your remarks or report.
Okay, I don't know that I'll be able to hear anything back, but, let's see. I know that I'm getting feedback from the phone.
I'll turn it off.
Ron, should she try logging it out and logging back in again, or has she?
I did that.
Oh, okay.
Did that.
Turning her computer off and rebooting.
Well, maybe I'll try that.
I think it's
I'll be-
appropriate to say
I'll try
log
that.
at a Forestation meeting.
Oh, we've got the mayor again. We're trying to get the mayor.
Oh, here's the mayor. That's great. We'll go ahead with mayor's report.
He was having trouble hearing us also, I believe, because we were making wisecracks and he didn't grimace.
I'm apologize. I couldn't hear anything, so I switched computers. That was my city issued laptop, which didn't do the trick for me. So I'm back to my old laptop.
Okay, that's very good. If we had,
Since you couldn't hear us,
be participating, but if you have any update on city issues or the ordinance review for Forestation, we certainly would love to hear it.
No, I really don't have any update on the ordinance. I know we need to return to that and address it. Let me see if I can get my camera working.
you know, the mayor said he apologized for not coming on. Well, we'll apologize for everything we were saying while he couldn't hear us.
We see you now.
So the not forestry related, but I'll give you an update on something that's on the horizon, the near horizon. Effective September 1st, we're making another change in the Rumpke service. We're going to be moving to every other week for recycling. It will be at the curb instead of at the back door. Rumpke will issue 55-gallon rolling carts to us. We don't have to pay for them. It's already included in the contract. And they'll be, as I say, they'll be picked up at the curb. So what it does is Rumpke just sends a truck in, the truck lifts the cart up, empties it and drives off. The savings to the city will be more than $200,000 a year. So it's a big ticket item. We're also organizing volunteers who will assist people who are not able to manage the carts because of mobility issues or for other reasons, with getting their carts to the curb and then getting the back to the back of their house later in the day. So so that's probably the biggest news that I've got to share with everybody.
I think we can live with that.
Yes, that sounds like $200,000. That's very good.
It's real money. It's real money.
Well, it gives some people opportunities to volunteer to help neighbors too.
Yeah, we've got Louis Fowler and Randy Gibson are going to organize our volunteer group, and we've got Herb. You'll be interested. Bernie Stronecki is helping us with the community development aspect of it and the volunteer aspect of it. So we've got a pretty good plan in place, and we're moving forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody know whether they actually do anything with those recyclables?
I've heard a lot of different stories about that, and I've read some about it, although I can't claim to be an expert. The one thing that everybody seems to agree on is that recycling reduces the amount of material that's put in landfills, which has got some benefit in itself. But I can't comment on other aspects of how worthwhile it is.
I'm sure
Everybody seems to believe in it, or a lot of people seem to believe in it. So I'm not sure I'm going to take on trying to understand it completely, although that's not a bad idea to get a better understanding of it.
Honey, it's a little bit like Santa Claus.
Let's raise awareness, but I don't, I mean, where do we ship it? Because we don't, Louisville doesn't have a recycling center. I'm just worried that it's all, a big ruse. That's all. Sorry.
Everybody's got some questions about that. I'm not sure it's a ruse, but I'm not sure it's the panacea that everybody thought it was going to be.
Eric, could you ask
with
Rumpke?
that.
Yeah, I think it's, as I say, it's worth looking into some more, and I'll put that on my very short list of things to do.
Anything else, Doug?
No, glad to see everybody, even remotely.
Okay, well, that's the advantage of remote. You can work while on vacation.
We're all behaving in Prospect.
That's good.
Andy, are you back?
I am back. I'm sorry for the confusion.
Well, we can hear you now, and apparently you can hear us.
I can't.
So if you want to go ahead with your report, please do.
Okay. Won't be any particular order. I noticed that I get a lot of feedback. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I'm seeing
You're
two.
in the meeting twice.
Well,
Turn off your phone.
my phone isn't on.
So you're in the meeting twice is why it's doing that.
I'm afraid if I click out of this, then I won't be in it.
Our phone's muted, so that shouldn't be the problem.
Well, here, let me try this and hopefully it doesn't
I'm
kick
sorry
in.
for the hassle here.
Ron's sending his army out.
I need something today.
Oh. Hopefully I don't kick her out doing this, but well,
You want me to start over?
give me just a second. I got to figure out what I'm doing first.
Well,
All right, let's move that one to the lobby.
Anybody appreciate
Right
my
now, Andrew.
comment about the log out being appropriate with the Forestation meeting?
can you hear me? Now it says I can't connect to the camera. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, it's.
Okay. Well, you're saying you're not echoing anymore, so.
Okay, thank you. One thing I noticed on Bridgepoint Boulevard, as you all know, we planted 12 or 13 columnar red maples along the exit side of Bridgepoint Boulevard a couple years ago. And with the woods behind the stone wall there that these trees are planted in front of, there's been some overall, the growth has been keeping, I think Ron's been keeping the growth back away from the wall, but there are 4 trees. The first, as you're exiting, the first 4 new trees there are starting to get tree branches from the woods overhanging them, which will cause them to grow. They won't grow up straight. They'll start leaning towards the street, which is not something we want, I don't think. So I'd recommend that we do a little bit of pruning, have some pruning done to prune some of the overhang on those trees back a little bit. I don't think it's extensive pruning, just a little bit to keep them back from being shaded and those branches hanging down into the trees. So that's one thing. Do y'all know where I mean? Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Also, what I was thinking about, as long as I think Ron's still there,
Or
tree bags, the watering bags that are on those trees, some of them still, you might be able to put them to better use now somewhere else on newer trees. Just because I think those trees have been in long enough, their roots are outgrowing, they're out beyond those bags, just FYI, if you need them somewhere else. Of course, we don't need any extra water right
yeah, that's right.
with the rain. The other thing I was just going to point out, and maybe you're aware of it, but I noticed that, and I'm not sure if it was an oversight or some direction from the city, but the tree line along Timber Ridge Drive, kind of across from the Kroger Shopping Center, going down towards River Road, across from Smithfield Green, was never edged and mulched this year. I'm not sure why, but I just wanted to point that out. I also have noticed that some of the memorial trees were not mulched this year. They were kind of skipped over. So it would be great if we could get those young trees, get them all mulched if that's in the works. Let's see what else. I've also noticed, and I'm sure some of you probably have too, that we asked the state last year to do some trimming on US 40, the trees in the right-of-way, the state right-of-way that hang over US 42. We asked them to do some trimming last summer, which they never did. That was from Bridgepoint Boulevard down towards Marina Drive and maybe even down towards Ken Carla. And those have some really low hanging branches that, especially in storms, you'll see where they're hanging way too low. So if it's okay with the board, I was going to recontact Cindy Markel, who has been really good in the past with responding. She's what they call the roadside administrator for KOTC. Unless you all have better contact.
We don't, and that would be great if you did.
Okay. Let's see. I noticed one of the young tulip poplars that was planted in by the new pavilion area, by the new parking lot and so forth, is leaning a little. It might be a good idea to have somebody straighten that, try to straighten it and tamp it back down so it doesn't grow crooked. Let's see. And I have I was looking at trees. We've been talking about limbing up trees in some areas. And I've noticed, and you may have seen this also, on Bridgepoint Boulevard, the last two medians as you go up the hill, some of those trees are getting some pretty low hanging branches on them that I would recommend maybe we try to do a little bit of limbing up of some of them. I actually have a specific list if you'd like to have it. I've also I've also noticed, and I can send some pictures, but we have such a long list of trees on the agenda to talk about as far as hazard trees and trees that need to be removed. I didn't send it before the meeting, but and this might be something, Ron, that you'd be willing to do, or your staff. There's a dead dogwood and one dead crabapple and another mostly dead crabapple on Bridgepoint Boulevard.
I knew about the dogwood. It's already on my list, but I'll check the other two.
The crabapples are at the very end of the last median at Old Creek, and you'll see them.
Okay.
And then at 7002 Bridgepoint Boulevard, some of in the last median as you go up, some of the, with the overgrowth of the pin oaks that come from that were planted originally in that development between the sidewalk and the street, they're starting to overgrow the street, as you know, and shade it. So the older trees in the medians there have gotten so shaded that they're losing, particularly like the white pines, that they've lost a lot of their lower branches, and maybe just have a limited amount of branching at the top. So there's one of those type of pine trees at 7002 Bridgepoint Boulevard that I think, because it's probably 65% dead branches and just a little bit at the top, we might want to consider taking that one out. I mean, it's going to start really dropping branches, I think, on the street. And there's also a Bradford pear, and Ron, you might want to look at these if you have time, or all of you, in that same location, that it's leafed out, but it has very poor branch attachments. It's probably had a lot of storm damage or branch loss in the past, and it isn't very structurally sound at this point. So that might be another one. That's another one I'd suggest maybe everybody try to review, and we could talk about at the next meeting. So I think that might be all. Yes, I think that, and also one other thing real quick. Ron, we talked about in the past, and you've probably just been too busy to get to it, but you still have plans, don't you still have plans to remove that dead Japanese maple in the entrance median on Fox Harbor Road, the middle tree?
Yes, we're actually working with Brian Lavin right now, so we're coming up with a plan.
Okay, good.
So,
Okay, that's
Very good.
perfect. All right, that I think that's all I have right now.
Well,
Thank you.
that's a lot, Andrea. And they're all good recommendations, and I think the board would support all those. And any comment from Connie or Herb or Linda?
No, it's really great observations. Appreciate it.
To get Andrea's input on the trees that we're trying to catch up on from the last meeting, and the things that I sent out to everybody on other issues.
You're
Well-
asking for my input? Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
Well, yes, Linda, we're all,
I sent out basically 4
Right.
pages of pictures of
Right.
trees that we were worried about, and
Right.
so how should we proceed? And we need your input to confirm or vote.
I'm pretty much the one that sent them in the first place. So I think, I know the most pressing one is the one Ron already said he was dealing with.
Okay, good.
yeah, that'll be out. The maple on Fox Harbor will be out this week.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's really good. One of them is a country club issue, and that pine that we've all discussed several times that's dying.
It was horrible. I was out today.
Right, and it's dropping branches now. I mean, it's so dead, or in such bad shape, it's dropping.
So
I
I've
don't know.
I've been in touch with LG&E about that pine, because it's interspersed with the lines. And
Right.
LG&E responded, their lines are, and I'd forgotten that. I knew this once, but I'd forgotten it. Their lines are at the top of the poles,
Yes, sir.
and they're not affected by it. But they
Right.
referred me to AT&T, and I've emailed back and forth with the AT&T contact today, and he's going to have somebody go out and look at it
Oh, good.
and provide advice. And the club is willing to remove it. They don't want to mess up AT&T lines or anybody else's lines.
Right, no, I understand that, and I remember I had given them through Lee, a contact for LG&E, so then it got down to AT&T, so hopefully that.
Yeah, AT&T did not respond to them. We
Right.
got in touch with AT&T through another contact.
Yeah, AT&T, you may know, is kind of notorious for not responding about tree work. They let things go pretty long time before they actually do any remedial work.
Right.
So it's good you have another contact. I mean, Linda, do you want to go through the list? Has everybody seen these trees that she sent out? I mean, I think they all are on a list that are removals. I think a couple of them Ron probably still has on his list, which is And correct me, Ron, if I'm wrong, there's a dead spruce on the entrance side at Timber Ridge going towards the landings or in the landings. The mostly
Yeah,
dead
yeah,
small
the small
spruce.
one, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's still a holly tree that the board planted a couple years ago that died last year, mostly dead on the right side as you exit Hunting Creek Drive to 42. It's painted now orange too, if you haven't seen it.
Okay, I guess the question I would have for everybody is that, all these trees have been identified as potentially hazardous, and I don't know what the process going forward is. And, some are city trees, some of are property owned, but do we still need to do remediation notifications, what have you? But I think all of them probably need to go.
So any homeowner tree, if you'll provide that information to me, I know Andrea and some others were helpful. We had a list of 3 trees in, I guess it was in the landings, and we were able to identify one of them, and I think you all helped us identify the other 2. But if there are others that need to be removed by homeowners, just provide that information to me.
We can do that,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
when we get the evaluation from Andrea that there are issues for owners, that how do
Yes.
we'll share that with the city, and a couple of them are in that
One of them on the list is that 8203 Westover, which happens to be.
well, that's a little more complicated.
Well, I don't know why it's complicated. I have a survey done by a professional surveyor, and it's at least 20 feet beyond my property line, and it's clearly on the owners. Now, Ron and I talked about it, and sure, if Ron wants to come out with his
Metal detector?
metal detector, we can do that. But I mean, it's the last big wind, I'm looking up there saying if that dude comes this way, it's going to be a bad thing for me and my. I live in a duplex, so me and my adjacent neighbor would not be in a good place.
So what do you recommend?
I recommend this board says to send out the letter that the owner's got to take care of it.
Yes, yes, that would,
I guess that was the
that's
question.
8203 Westover. That was the first picture, Linda, you sent.
Yes.
And the mayor says we just tell him that that tree needs to be removed by the property owner. So we'll go through this list best we can, identify those that are not city trees, but privately owned, and then send that list out.
Okay, we can easily identify the owner of 8203 Westover and go from there.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to just go through the list
Sure.
as you sent it out?
And
We
I
had
have,
about 11 trees.
yeah, I have a
Some of them were
comment
city
about the
trees.
first one. Go ahead, Linda.
I have no further comment. What else?
If you want to go through the list, the first 2 on there are ashes at Smithfield Green at their entrance.
Yes.
And Dawn, is that where you live? Smithfield Green? Yes. I thought so. I looked at them again this week, and I think these got on a list from somebody that called about these trees. I don't remember how the board got that list, but
Yes.
I was looking at them yesterday or earlier in the week, and the one that is closest to the driveway out of Smithfield Green towards, Timber Ridge. That one that's closest to that intersection, I think, is in a little worse shape than the other one. So, and due to its proximity closer to the street and the entrance to Smithfield Green, and the fact that it has quite a few dead branches, it really looks like it has declined further since I looked at it the last time. I would say that one should be removed first. And then if your association wants to wait on the other one's dead in the top, it's further away from the street, but it looks like it's it's not declining as rapidly to me. That if you'd want to make that more of a winter removal, at some point it'll have to be removed, but it's probably not as urgent as the one closer to the intersection.
Yeah, I spoke with someone in the association, Sally Coyne, and she told me that she had them both scheduled to be taken.
Okay, good. Well, that's a good plan. I mean, because
I talked with Sally too. This is a couple of months ago, and she was troubled that the association did not have a budget this calendar year remaining to deal with those trees, and she wanted to defer them to next calendar year. But if Andrea, if you think that the one is a imminent hazard, we ought to notify Smithfield Green anyhow.
I mean, yes, I would say the one on the closer to the intersection I mentioned should be removed sooner rather than later. The other one probably could be winter work, which maybe will save Smithfield Green a little money, getting a tree taken down in the winter. They're going to continue to decline, but I'd say due to the location and the positioning of the dead branches towards the street in that tree, it's definitely a hazard.
Well, for time, she thought it was acceptable to have it both of them taken down in January. So what I'm hearing, that's okay for one, but not on the other one.
Right. I mean, I think we're just playing, we're fighting, it's kind of playing. It'd be pretty easy for it to come down in any storm or any amount of wind, parts of it, the top of the tree.
I'll get a hold of Sally and pass that information on.
All right.
Or the association should be able to find money to do that.
Do that, right. And I just add, Dawn, just for information, in the past, Andrea's said that when these ashes become dead, they become very brittle and branches are likely to drop off.
Right.
And then even the tree cutting companies don't want to climb them to deal with them because of the hazard.
Yeah,
right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
One closest to the entrance driveway.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right.
Up on.
Okay.
Linda, you want to go ahead with your list?
We talked about golf course.
We got the one on the golf course, but there's a second
I
one.
looked at it and, can comment.
Are you talking about the one the more recent one, the smaller one at Foxcroft?
It's
It could be.
Chestnut Hill Green, I think, isn't it?
We have some storm damaged trees, the question on the Bridgepoint Boulevard ownership with the failing pine, some public trees, hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at the additional information I sent out to help us sort out which trees we need to address.
Okay, I'm looking at them right now. Yeah.
Yeah. That failing pine at 7002, that was identified by Andrea as a city-owned median tree, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's not a particularly good picture, but as shaded as it is in there, it's hard for you to decipher the amount of dead wood in it. But if you see it, you'll probably know what I mean.
Well, that is the one in the median, because I was wondering when I drove through there the other day.
It looks pretty dead.
Yeah,
It does. It is.
it is, and it does. And Ron's already taken out the tree, or had taken out the tree on Chestnut Hill Drive, the large pine.
Okay, I went through all the emails because we were
Right.
kind of playing catch up, and it's good that
We took out the failing spruce at the corner of Westover and Chestnut
Yes,
Hill too.
I noticed that. That's good. And
Excellent.
are you gonna take out, do you still have plans to take out the damaged pines at the intersection of River Road and US 42, the ones kind of in front of the Sutherland corner? Aren't they city trees?
Some are, some aren't. I'll have to look at them.
Oh, I think one's broken, they both are pretty bad shape. One's broken in half or so and dead, and the other one's pretty much toast.
Okay, I'll
too.
take a look at them.
Okay. My picture on my screen seems frozen, so I don't usually look as goofy as it looks.
We can't do it all.
I'm not gonna mess with it though, because I don't want to lose you all.
Don't mess, don't mess.
Right.
Hold on.
Getting back to Linda's list, there was a second country club tree that was opposite 6606 Foxcroft.
Yes, that's a newer submission. It's probably not going to hurt any property, but if it comes down, it could be very awkward.
Andrew, did you look at that tree?
I did.
What
It's
would you
mostly
recommend?
dead, and I mean, I guess it's possible a branch or two could hit the street. I don't, it's more recently declined, so I don't think like it's, for instance, I mean, it could drop some branches, I suppose, but it's a kind of a medium-sized tree and it's back up away from the road. I'd say it's maybe 20 feet. I didn't measure it, but approximately 20 feet or so from the road. So, is the plan to make the golf course aware of that, or
Yes,
is that what you were thinking to do, or?
if you deemed it to be hazardous, we were planning along as requested by Frank Fulcher to have a meeting with the country club management, and we could certainly bring that tree to his
I
attention.
think it's worth bringing the tree to their attention,
Yeah,
just because it does have that possibility of,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not as worried about that as I am some of these other trees, but.
So
Mhm.
maybe that's the way we'll handle it. If we can have this meeting, we'll mention, we'll find out what's really happening with AT&T taking out one pine,
Right.
and then we could bring this other tree to Larson. Mr. Zeke Larson is the club manager. We'll deal with him. Let's try to pass it along to him.
The only other comment I'd have on this tree list is that, and I don't know what you think, Lee, since you and I went to look at it, but the cherry that is on New Bern Court,
Yes, yeah,
Um,
that was,
should we call the, well, now it's telling me I'm gonna be disconnected in 4.52 minutes.
great. That
So if I
tree-
go away, you'll know why.
Okay, that tree was on Linda's list. We looked at it. I remember that's the one that actually threatens the playground or play area.
Yeah, it was leaning and it had fallen into another tree that was holding it up, and had possibilities of damaging somebody else's backyard.
Okay,
Because it was right on the property line, but
yeah,
maybe we should call the people, maybe we should verify that tree hasn't been dealt with. When were we there? That was several months ago,
it
wasn't it?
was months ago, right? And no action's been taken. I think we put it on the list as requested by the mayor,
Okay,
right?
all right,
And if the people say we took it down, great, That,
right.
probably it hasn't happened.
If I get disconnected, I'll try to I'll reload it and try to get back on.
Okay.
So, I don't know. So that should
Linda
take,
Knox, any more you want to talk about on this list? Any more trees?
I don't.
Now, how about Linda Knox?
Oh,
No, I think we've covered Andrea's updates and anything that I was aware of, because I went through all the emails and that stated there were different trees and tried to collect them all with what I sent out to everybody.
Okay, so if you could put a note out and you and I can discuss it to send to the mayor, there's 2 or 3 trees that are private property trees that the
Yeah.
city needs to follow up on.
Okay,
That
we
should
can
be
do
pretty
that.
straightforward. Yeah, it's great. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda was a newsletter article identifying hazardous trees. And maybe Linda, you want to talk about that too?
Oh, I can. And, Andrea was nice enough to share some information with me. I'm still working on how to best use her reference information. And I also want to include some details on our ordinances about what's becoming an issue for the city in not only owners, but, city property in terms of limbing up trees. We have requirements that are important for sidewalks and street trees. And I don't know that everybody is aware of that. So that will be part of what I'm working on.
That's great. Really, it is.
And that may be of help to Rick and the city as they, they're out every day driving through the city. So if they're more aware of what the requirement is, and if owners are as well, and, one of the things that, could be useful is if they want to enforce the trees where they see them over the streets in particular, get a long pole pruner and mark it for the appropriate dimensions, and then take action as needed with owners or the city.
That would be a good thing, and it doesn't need to involve Forestation Board because that requirement requiring 13 feet clearance over streets and 8
Yeah, is
feet
that not part
over
of the
sidewalk.
nuisance
That's the
ordinance?
nuisance ordinance, right?
Correct.
So code enforcement, they're driving around, they see a tree that looks questionable, they could just deal with it, particularly if they have a marker like you're suggesting, they can put a pole up and see is it 13 feet or not,
He had to go.
Yeah.
Oh, she left.
Linda, let me know if I can help, okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah, and let me know too, Linda, if you
Yeah,
want to
we
send it to me
coordinate.
before you send it out.
We can do
Um,
that.
I'm going to get disconnected and have to reconnect, but I did want to just mention about limbing trees up to 13 feet or whatever. That can be done in different ways. I mean, obviously that's for larger trees, not small trees that that would limb them way up to the top. But limbing up trees doesn't necessarily mean that they have to prune major limbs and go 13 feet up from the ground and prune them all off. They can do that, just so everybody's aware, you probably are, by tip pruning branches back, ends of larger branches back that might hang over the street, but if they tip them back so many feet, they can raise it'll take weight off the ends of the branches and it'll raise those branches up. So I'm back now. I don't have any idea what's going on with my computer. So that's just something to bear in mind. And sometimes homeowners that have very large trees, they're set back far enough and could also just be encouraged to prune branches back to the edge of the street, in some cases, depending on what the shape and size of the tree is and, branch structure and all that good stuff. So just FYI.
Those are good things. I will obviously let you review anything we put together before it goes out for city distribution.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Sure.
Andrea, question. Andrea, did you see Paul Capillo's article in the Courier about watering trees?
I have heard about it, excerpts from it, but I didn't actually see it.
Would you comment on? Oh, you haven't read it. Oh, okay.
No.
I saw it. He certainly recommends a lot of watering.
Right.
But
Yep.
he wasn't specific, and I've never seen anybody write down specific. And I finally asked somebody that I thought was smart, and they basically said, if you're not getting rain, and you're working out of a hose, that you do it for 5 minutes. But I noticed
for a tree.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like
I
enough.
think that would.
No, that's not right.
No, in the
Yeah.
article, he was saying that if you had a large tree and you wanted to water the roots adequately, you'd use a sprinkler for 72 hours straight.
Right.
Right.
That's because the tree roots go out 2.5 to 3 times at least the height of the trees.
Yeah,
said
he's
that-
saying that, right.
So
He also said that the little feeder roots
Yep.
are the ones that are furthest out, and those are the ones that absorb the water.
right.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Well, I will comment as a former lawn and garden person, having spent a lot of time dealing with sprinkler management, data from sprinklers and garden hoses. So yeah, some of that I can, provide some additional insight to. I don't have it off the top of my head, but yeah, I know a lot about sprinklers, garden hoses, watering trees, as well as trimming.
Well, maybe that needs to be in one of the articles, our neighborhood newsletter, because,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Or
one thing.
reference his article even. You could, if you wanted to talk about watering and the points you want to put in, and then reference his article.
Yeah.
Do you have a copy of that, Connie? Because I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I didn't recall any 72 hours.
yeah, I question that as well, because I have data from our engineers from my former life in terms of what sprinklers do and what their watering capacities are, depending on water pressure, etc. So it does vary.
And it varies according to soil types. It also varies
Absolutely.
according to microclimates in certain areas
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
a city or a subdivision or whatever. There's so many
But that-
variables with watering, but for new
But
trees,
that doesn't help somebody. You know,
Yeah.
if you really, you want to do something good, at least give somebody specific,
Yeah.
I mean, like saying water it well.
No,
what's
and we
well?
used to have charts on our packaging that said, if your soil type is this, you need to water this, and what an oscillator does versus an impulse sprinkler. There's great variables.
yep.
Okay, so I'm on my sprinkler soapbox. Sorry.
Well, I think it's good.
Did
I
you work
think
for an irrigation company or something?
Yeah,
I didn't know what you used to, I didn't know what you did in your former life.
yeah, sprinklers, garden hoses, pruning tools, and tank sprayers. So I know a lot about that, and I've had published articles on all of them.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
great.
You're on the board.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
we're glad you're here.
Yeah. And I did go through Jefferson County Master Gardener. So,
Great,
That's
that's
good.
awesome.
I'm
So,
sure that
yeah.
Paul Capiello's article is available online. If you go,
Oh,
It
Three-
probably is, yeah,
that's where I read it.
yeah.
okay. Good to know. Should look at it. Okay. We need to get back to the agenda. We've both been kind of rattling on.
Okay, well, that's the hazardous tree article
Yeah.
is on the agenda. And next item, another Linda Knox item, a report on the 4th of July activity.
Well, you were there. I was there. Linda
Wardell was there.
and we had some the Susan and
Connie was
David
there.
were there. So we didn't get a lot of response as much as we have in other years, but I still think it's worth having since there and the information there. That's kind of, my opinion.
And she bought two. I didn't buy anything for myself, but I bought a couple things for her, which were little fiddly things, but bought 2 rings. And one of them had been $90, and she got half off. And one of them had been $75, and she got half off. And so she was. And I told her, I said,
We're losing the sound here.
some of the things that
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
But Julie still cleaned it up and everything on the inside. It says she's fine.
There's a ghost.
Yeah. I guess it's good. I mean, it's sterling
So
silver.
was there anything else on the 4th of July that you?
And I had it
I
resized.
think next year we need to have a better sign. You know, we need to have some kind of a, you know, even if it's just a big piece of paper to go across the table saying what we're there for, because it wasn't very visible. You know, the sign I made, you know, it was just with magic mark, with a dog point pen, I mean.
And I think 2 years ago, I did do a sign and hadn't figured out how to get the letters bigger than 96% on my computer, but now I know how to do that. So we can probably create a sign, or as we've talked about for Arborfest, just doing a more permanent drape that could be used, and maybe we do one that combines us with Parks and Recreation, so they have a presence, as Linda has been at Arborfest in the past.
Yes, and
He had
other people from parks have been there and were there this year also.
But, you know, we could give out like lollipops or just, you know, some kind of, you know, enticement to get people to come up to the table. Like that reenactment guy did next to us. I
Yeah,
don't know what he was giving out.
and maybe just, you know, something with light or action that would get people
Yeah,
at least look at the tent.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could buy a sign. I think the experience when we bought the little sign for Arborfest, it wasn't very expensive.
It
No,
wasn't.
they weren't.
And we buy a sign and it says Parks and Forestation. which
And-
Do you all
Can't
have
hurt.
any older Tree USA flags? Like Tree City USA flags?
Oh,
Because some
yeah.
That's an
people,
idea.
some
Well,
people
yeah.
drape their flags like over a table, a table, you know.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Okay.
I believe I could help you out on that one.
Yeah, I
Okay,
bet you
very
can.
good, Ron.
Great.
it is. So she said, I'm gonna it up. And then there was another one and she liked it. And they were.
Well,
That's
I
just
suggest next year we have
interference.
some kind of a visual thing, you know, to draw people in, like, I don't know, a fake tree or something, just something. Because you know, it was just like a bare table. I think probably people were intimidated because we were all lined up there, like, you know.
I
We
know
are
I was scared.
2 other tents, so
Get a
maybe.
popcorn machine.
There's an
There you go.
idea.
There you go.
Perfect. Boy, if we had that, we'd get takers.
Yeah.
Maybe we give it away and people can, you know, put in their name. Would you like this tree?
Yeah, that's good. Name this tree.
Yeah.
Free tree, a free tree. Pick it up at Arborfest.
That's right.
See, okay. There are ideas. We can make it better.
And then she found a second wall pen that was an old pen.
Who is that?
We got a ghost.
Yeah. I think we're hearing Linda Wardell.
Maybe I should.
I'm on mute.
Oh, who's talking?
I
It's
don't
a
know.
ghost. It's a ghost.
Who would I
Pretty
know?
well covered that topic anyhow. The next item was a meeting with the Hunting Creek Country Club management. I can do that. Maybe it would be good to have maybe 2 or 3 Forestation Board members participate in that.
Yeah.
Maybe Linda or Connie or Herb or somebody volunteer.
Yes. I
What's
will
the
help.
meeting about?
Well,
Really, if
it's a
we
little-
want to be legal, it can only be 2.
Yeah, okay, 2 will work. That's fine.
We'll figure it out.
All right, we'll work on that. I'll call Mr. Larson, try to line something up or see when he's available, you know?
Yep.
And this was a respect from the council member, Frank, who's an active member of the club. And, you know, there could be possibilities, but it's good to have an open network with him on some of these tree issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Good idea.
Okay.
Zeke Larson is the manager. He's a great guy. He's very approachable. I know he'll be glad to meet with you all, and you'll find him to be a pleasure to deal with.
Yeah, I did talk with him a couple months ago, Doug, and I agree with, he was very open and friendly. That was before Derby. He said, well, how about meeting after Derby? Well, that never happened for various reasons, but I can get back to him.
Well, and I'll mention that their busiest time is Memorial Day to Labor Day. So it's a little hectic for him right now, but that's
Right
not to say he won't make time for you. It's just their busiest time of the year.
They
Okay.
are busy, and there's no doubt in my mind, the president of the club is one of my neighbors, and he's always been so helpful with
He's
my
a
small
great guy.
community. And, you know, Larry will do anything, you know, if we reach out to him as well to make
Yeah,
sure
he's
things go well.
he's a great guy.
He is,
Really good person.
absolutely.
Well, Linda, if you know this individual, I hate to put more work on you, but maybe you want to talk to him.
Oh, she can take the work. Come on.
I will let Larry know that we want to reach out to Zeke,
Kind.
go from there in terms of,
Okay,
you know, what
very good.
potential is for our role in working with the club.
Okay,
For everybody,
yes.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Anything else on any other Forestation related issues?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me bring up a couple of things. One is, I think it might be good. You know, we had 5 residents that signed up that are in the tree canopy program. And maybe after the summer or maybe next meeting, we might want to get back with them and just get a little bit of a evaluation how they thought their tree and the installation of the tree. So we, you know, that was installation. We were responsible for getting the people. So just a little follow up on those 5. And
Good
then,
idea.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree.
and the other, I hate to almost bring this up, but I did see in the last minute, so May minutes, that the Bradford Paris, 3 Bradford Paris there that at the landings, and I didn't know, it's, has that all been resolved, or do we?
I think it's in process. The one gentleman has agreed to take out the one that was in trouble and is going to take out a second one. I think we provided some information to him on replacement trees, but also introduced him to the program in the fall, I guess, where he buys a tree and the city plants it. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but however that program works, he's been introduced to it and is very interested. I'm not sure where things stand with regard to the other 2 trees, but I'll check with Rick about that.
Okay.
I think he's talked to the property owners.
Yeah, I thought it was all moving forward, but what has been actually executed, I do not know. I've not been back to look at those trees again in the last few weeks. So
They're all there. They're all still there as of the end of last week or so.
okay.
Anything else?
Mm-mm.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
A motion to adjourn?
Well, we have to settle on the next meeting, which would normally be the second Tuesday of the month, which happens to be August 8th. Does that work for everyone?
Yep.
I know.
Okay, we'll put it down for 2 o'clock by WebEx.
Okay, I got it. Sounds good.
Okay, and before we adjourn, I just want to thank you, Linda Knox, for all the work you've done in June and July, particularly when I was away or tied up with medical matters, you know?
Well, we have a great group that we work with. We're all volunteers and we like what we do for the city. And obviously, you know a little bit more about my interest in lawn and garden and so on.
Yeah, we expect more work from you now, even more.
On it.
More.
I tell you what my major was in college.
Water?
Art,
Yeah, fine art design. So I can paint
see?
and write with a big pleasure.
Well, you do good. We're
Well,
lucky.
combination of skills that help me in the corporate world, and I'm just glad I can contribute to this community. And I hope anybody that's watching will think about doing things for the city of Prospect.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
That's
Yeah,
great.
thank you, Linda, and great to have Linda Wardell participate in our meetings.
Oh,
and,
another amazing volunteer.
Yeah, and it was an amazing leader, actually. And
Absolutely.
great to have Ron on for the whole program,
Yeah.
as well as the mayor. Thank you, Ron.
Quite
And
welcome.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, you can dismiss your army now.
Can I say one?
And he's,
Not
May,
till
may,
next year.
may I add one thing? If you have not been over to the pavilion to look at the chainsaw sculpture underway, you
Oh.
really need to stop by there. It's amazing.
It's fabulous.
Oh,
That's great.
we learned something today, actually. Harley went to lunch at Dairy Queen and said that if you're in Dairy Queen's drive-through, it looks like there's a fox standing on the side of 42.
It does.
Oh,
It's a perfect level with the road.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Neat.
Really, that's funny.
That's great.
That's awesome.
See y'all.
He was
Okay.
putting the detail on the fox when I was out there last. So
Oh,
That's neat.
Reason to go to Dairy Queen.
yeah,
I mean, aside from blizzards.
See y'all.
Okay,
Okay.
bye-bye. Thank
take
you.
care.
hey Herb,
You.
hang on a sec.
Okay.
Let me end the stream here.